Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
So now that Simmons reportedly wants out of Philly, Rivers said yesterday that those original comments were misrepresented, also adding, quote, "This is what makes our job hard." It actually, when the guy asked him, "I'm not answering that stuff right now," it's amazing how things get started and just takes on a life of its own. So Shannon, do you believe there's any truth to what Doc is saying here?
No. Doc, we just heard you. The guy asked you a question. Doc, do you believe Ben Simmons can be your point guard on a championship winning team like you want to become? No, I don't know if I can answer that right now. How did we misconstrue what you said? Are we supposed to believe you or my lying ears, Skip? That's what I need to know. Am I supposed to believe Doc Rivers or my lying ears? Because I know what I heard. And then you want to turn around and talk about they misconstrued what you said. No, you said what you said. That's why in the moment, Doc, you've been at this too long. That's why when emotions are high, logic is low. Skip, one of the things, I've been to therapy, in couples therapy. The one thing they tell you is that you don't argue to hurt. Because you got to be careful when you say something, Skip, you mad, you blurt out anything. And the other person going to look at you and say, oh, that's how you feel, huh? Oh, you spoke your heart. You upset. Skip, Doc was upset in that moment because remember, another 3-1 lead had evaporated.
Yep.
And who's had the most 3-game come from behind being up 3-1 and lose? Doc. And it's not even close. So he's emotional. And he's like, damn, I just watched Ben Simmons not even take another shot, take one shot in the final 6 fourth quarters, had a layup that would have put us up, a dunk. That's Trae Young, and he passed it. So, no, Doc, ain't nobody misconstruing. And what makes your job hard is when you don't win. That's what makes your job hard. Because when you win, Skip, Phil Jackson had an easy job. Coach Auerbach had an easy job because they won. It's when you don't win, when you are expected to win, when you got the 2 best players, you got Joel Embiid, you got Ben Simmons, and an 8 seed take you down when you're up 3-1, that's the problem.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, Doc should have just said, hey, I apologize, I'm sorry, and maybe he did that behind closed doors. But you can't come out here in public and say you were misquoted or you was misconstrued. We misconstrued what you said. You said what you said. You said you don't know if Ben Simmons can be the starting point guard on a championship winning team. That's what you said. There's nothing to misconstrue about that, Skip.
Okay, I hear everything you just said, and there's much logic in what you said and little emotion. I do agree that part of Doc was blame deflecting and protecting because he did crater once again, and that was 2 straight years and on top of his track record.
Right. Yeah, with the Clippers. Remember when the Clippers, they was up on Houston, 3-1.
They were. We get that. I do like Doc. So maybe I'm going to overreact to this, but I think there's some truth to his contention that he was actually trying to dodge that question instead of answer it. And he answered poorly because his answer could certainly be interpreted to mean what you think it meant.
Right.
Is that no, you're interpreting it as a big giant no, we can't win with him as our point or whatever the question was. Yeah.
Championship winning team.
Okay. So he says, I actually said when the guy asked, guys, I'm not answering that stuff right now. But to your point, it comes across like he is, but he never flat out states, we just can't win with Ben Simmons in that position.
Yeah, if I ask you,
he just said, I don't know the answer to that, which could mean that he was trying not to answer the question and it came across as a dodging negative answer.
Well, how about this? Instead of saying no, how about saying, guys, I don't know if I can answer that, which is still going to be Ben Simmons. The way you should have answered it, of course. Yes, we're disappointed.
Every time through the playoffs he'd been asked that same question, he'd gone over the top to defend Ben Simmons.
Thank you. Just like when they ask him, are you, Doc, is there going to become a time that you're going to have to take Ben Simmons out of the game in the fourth
We
quarter?
got angry about it.
Thank you.
And he questioned the IQ of
Yeah.
the basketball IQ of the questioner.
That's all you. Just keep it going along those lines, Doc. You can't say, no, I don't know if I can answer that right now. You said no. You can't say no, and then I don't know if I can answer that right now. You said no. You should have said, look, we're all upset that we lost. Give credit to Nate McMillan. He had a very good team. The Atlanta Hawks are to be commended because they played very well.
Yep.
But when you said no,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can answer that. Skip,
He
even
just
if
said, he didn't say no. He just said, I don't know if I can answer that. That you're interpreting was a no.
Skip, even if you say, I don't know if I can answer that, that's still the wrong answer. That's Ben
Okay, I
Simmons,
got
who's an
it.
all-star and who's an all-NBA player. And you don't know if you can win a championship with him as your point guard?
He answered badly.
Yes.
He did. He opened the door for misinterpretation
Yes.
to the point of interpretation.
But guess who took it badly? That guy.
Oh, did he?
That's who took it
Like Bridgeburn.
Yeah, forget what you and I think.
Over and out.
Yes.
Like, I ain't coming to camp. I'm
Right.
done with you, right?
Skip, and he told you. You had a meeting with him. He told you he didn't want to play there anymore. He didn't want to be in Philly anymore.
Yeah. Okay, to Doc's credit, he did call the impromptu media session the following day to try to clarify that remark. You can call it spin control, damage control, whatever. But that little media session came and went, and all of his explanation went in one ear and out the other because all that remained was that answer in the post-game press conference, right? And it did take on a life of its own because it sent Ben Simmons completely over the edge out the door for good.
Yes.
That's why it took on a life of its own, because he made it a life of its own.
Skip, everybody, when you go to camp, and I think all the teams do it now, they said, take time to calm down after a game. Take 15, take 20, take 30 minutes.
How many times have I been left outside a locker room and name the sport 45 minutes, an hour, because they need a cooling off
Yes!
period, right?
Skip,
and my deadline is approaching. I'm like, give me a break.
Yes!
We need to cool off. It would always take Michael Jordan at least an hour, but he wanted to get dressed and ready for camera.
Right.
He wanted to present his best public side to the camera.
Do you know how many times I want to go out there and say, well, he sucked.
Yeah.
He couldn't block nobody. He couldn't catch. He couldn't tackle. He couldn't defend. But it was always, we didn't play well. Give those guys credit over there. They get a check also. So we need to do a better job of blocking. We need to do a better job of catching. We need to do a better job of that. Because Skip, no matter how I come back and try to explain what I meant, it's never going to have the same veracity as what I said originally. And what Doc is finding out, what you said immediately after the game, now you done had like, man, I really messed that one up. Yeah, you did.
So back in the day, the great Texas E. Schramm, who was the original architect of my Dallas Cowboys, decided that he wanted a locker room situation